Say sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So, dear Dharma practitioners, in this human life, we all looking for happiness and satisfaction, and at the same time, safety and security. So for that, we every day keep doing many kind of physical, verbal, mental actions. But mostly, when you look yourself, whatever the mental, physical, or the verbal action you perform, later as a result of that own actions, as you start to get disturbed. So in the beginning, you had the intention to find the security, safety, comfort, happiness. And with that intention, you perform action, bodily, verbally, and mentally action. But by the time, as a result of that, your own action, whatever you performed, you're going to gain the disturb. So that result itself, challenging for your own intention, and it start to come as a counterattack and disturb your own happiness, satisfaction, safety, security. So this is keep happening again and again, again and again. So then when you listen this very carefully and understand, when you have the intention or the idea or the thought, or when you have any kind of plan, work for happiness, satisfaction, security, comfort, that means you go against your own reactions. Because the reaction came as a result of that your previous actions. So then today, that whatever the disturb you experience, if you think it is coming from somewhere or something not related to you, that idea itself push you forward to go against it or work for it. So this is the very nature of the samsara. This is the very nature of the very conditioned life. But rather than understanding the mechanism of inside this circle, what we does, we always go with this surface level or the outside result. That's why again and again, we just keep doing. The very reason is this. It is not a rocket science. It is just a very simple. If you listen this very carefully and reflect on it and understand. So your own actions, your bodily, verbally, mentally action, so that you have the intention to find the security, happiness, satisfaction. So then you perform any kind of bodily, verbally, and mentally action. And that action, by the time, again, sabotage or the challenge for your own mind, lifestyle, and then that result make you unbalanced. So out of that unbalance, again, you start to think about the security, happiness, satisfaction, comfort, so like that. And when you work for that, you already work with the unbalanced mind. So because of that unbalanced mind, the intention, whatever come out of the fear, unsatisfaction, it will never bring the satisfaction. So then where you can fix this? In the very moment, in this very moment, if you come to the total level, 100%, total level of acceptance, that is the moment you're going to come to the balance. Once you come to the total acceptance, so whatever come towards you, in that very moment, there's no fear, unsatisfaction, there's no danger. That itself is become your security, your happiness. So then slowly, little by little, you have to understand. Because we struggling, we trying to deal with this, the mental mechanism, and keep chasing, following, and this unend circle. It's like we afraid for our own shadow, and we running to escape from that. So only thing is, remember that whatever come towards you, it's come as a result of your own action. So don't try to escape from that. Escaping is not the art to deal with that. Learn to first level to accept it. Once you set up your mind to accept, and sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes you will experience whatever keep coming towards you. Listen this very carefully and catch it. Once you're ready to accept whatever come towards you, once you come to the intention of acceptance, in that very moment it is stopped there. The very reason is this: the fear or the intention that you have to resist towards, escape from that, is the current, pull it towards you. So that's why once you have the intention to accept, in that very moment you drop that current in you. It's like a magnet. Once you drop that, it anymore cannot keep coming towards you. It cannot happen that way. It has no strength, power, energy to come towards you. So through the meditation, you cultivate your mind, your heart, your understanding, your wisdom, to get into this acceptance. Because it cannot do just by thinking. It can do by seeing inside yourself how this is happening, experiencing it yourself without thoughts, how this is happening. So then remember, in day-to-day life, we're dealing with this material world, and believing that it itself can make us comfortable or the happy. But when you look at this material world, so whatever the material, even though you own it, it has a place. It also having a place in this universe. You own it, but it has a place. You have to keep it in that place. It's like the car, your vehicle, that what, it is very important. It is under your title, under your name, all the titles hold your name. It's belong to you. But you have to keep it in a necessary place. Maybe driveway, garage, or somewhere. You cannot bring it to beyond that level. You cannot bring it to your bedroom, your living room. So the garment is very important for us. But you cannot drop just that, leave the garment, the whatever the cloth in your living room. You cannot do that. You have to put it in the closet. Your slippers, shoes, very important. But at the same time, you believing this is very important for me, this help for me, thinking like that, you cannot keep it on the dining table. That is not the place. So like that, each and every material, even it helps us, even you own it, it has a place somewhere. So we have to allow it to be in that place. You cannot take it beyond that place. Once you remove it from that place, it affects for the performance of that material. Remember that. Once you remove that material from its own place, it affects for its own performance. So then to get the best performance out of any material, you have to place it in the very necessary place. So if you're able to understand that in this material world, remember, the same principle you can apply to your mind also. Your actions also, your bodily, verbally, mentally actions also. To get get the best out of your bodily, verbally, mentally actions, you have to place it at the right time, at the right place. Because each and every action has its own place to hold. Same like this material world. So it is to continue the life, remember that. To have a conventional life. And when you perform it like that way, people say, oh, he's a good person. If the person cannot perform it that way, then the people say it's a bad person. So becoming a good person rather than becoming a bad person, very important. But becoming a good person means what? What it try to do? Where I try to take you? So to practice meditation will help you go beyond that also. Completely get out of this circle. Not to be just the good, because that even that good also, whatever the things that we performing in the conventional life, and that also day by day going to take us to different place. But our purpose is not finding the energy to travel in this journey. our purpose is go towards the end. So then you have to know, go beyond the good also. So in the conventional life, handling with this all the material things with the right way, it called the amisa sukha. Amisa sukha means that you gain the best out of the material world. And you giving something, and you having something, this all come to amisa sukha. And there is another satisfaction called niramisa sukha. And it is not it is nothing to do with the material. After you perform with the material world, you're going to earn something in your mind. That is called niramisa sukha. So as example, there's a material something, you gave it to somebody, and so while you giving it, you have the happiness. So that is called amisa sukha, because the material performance help you to have it. And then once you gave it, after 1 week, you start to think about, now already that giving action finished, over, complete. Now you have the memory. And niramisa sukha, you reflect on it. Thinking about it, you gain. And then when you perform that way also, in a certain level, and there is another satisfaction or the happiness, it's called avedaita. Amisa, niramisa, avedaita. Avedaita means the Vedaita means it's kind of like a feelings. Avedaita, no physical, mental feelings. But it's still, it is itself bring a satisfaction. This all three satisfaction, amisa sukha, niramisa sukha, avedaita sukha. This all sukha, sukha, sukha. This all, if anything related to satisfaction, remember it related to change. Impermanent. So then, what is this avedaita sukha? The avedaita sukha is kind of like this. I give a simile. This some deep mental satisfaction. Like as example, you deeply come to tranquility state. Samadhi. Undisturbed state. You stay 5 minutes there. So in that very moment, you're not contemplating on the feeling that you go through. So then you come to the avedaita sukha, because there is no, you contemplating on that feeling and enjoying it. It is not you remember that your thoughts interfere with that feeling. But that 5 minutes samadhi or the tranquility state, once you get out of it, maybe for a long time of period of time, help you to maintain deeper your tranquility mind or the satisfaction, and it start to become the energy to help you to maintain your life further. And another way, just imagine you go to sleep. So you sleep Very good sleep, no dreams or anything, you sleep 8 hours. So while you're sleeping, you not enjoy that sleep, you half dead. So then there is no kind of like, you reflect on it. And then when you wake up, you cannot reflect on that sleeping even. So then it is not going to be Amisa Sukha, and it cannot be the Niramisa Sukha. Just I give us very, very simple simile. Don't caught up with that simile. You have to understand that and apply it to the condition of the mind. So you cannot reflect on oh, I had a good sleep like that. You cannot go back to it and reflect on it. Like you gave something to somebody and then you remind it. You know how you gave it and how you did it. And you can remind and reflect on it. But the sleep, when you have very sound sleep, when you wake up, you feel good, that's it. So that good sleep underneath your whole day, giving in the physical comfort, it's all underneath your physical. You don't reflect on it, you don't think about it. See, that is Avedaita Sukha. There is no mental object to reflect. So like that, your bodily, verbally, physically, all actions have this kind of three kind of satisfactions. So Avedaita Sukha is more beyond the physical mental level, and especially when it go deeper, high mental powers or the absorptions. And that is where you gain this. But this all impermanent. And another way that in this satisfaction come another way, it's called Olarika Attapatilabha. Olarika means that whatever that have the rough physical things exist with the rough physical outside. The Olarika is this, like this body is called Olarika because it's a very, very physical. And maintaining with the feelings and with the material things, we call this Olarika. So whatever your eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind go with the objects, and depending on that, it's a Olarika Attapatilabha. And another thing called Manomaya Attapatilabha. So the Manomaya Attapatilabha means no physical objects. And it is only the mental object. And then another one called Arupi Attapatilabha. Even in there is something deeper beyond the mental objects. So this is what you have to learn today. So we feel with this so good with this material world. You work so hard, spend so much money and enjoy and believing the satisfaction, happiness is this material or the Olarika or rough, very physical world bring you the satisfaction. So there is a satisfaction. But beyond that, your mental satisfaction, the Manomaya Attapatilabha is so strong. Remember that. Your mental happiness, satisfaction, far, far beyond that, this material satisfaction. And that's why sometimes we think we caught up in the material world more than if there's a material world, even that the material mean Olarika. So in this material world, if it is so strong, it is very simple. We can take it out very easily. Look at the people. People change the house, people, change the country, people change the husband, people change the wife, people have more children, and they get out of the children, and they go with the children. You can get out of the partner, you can find a partner. This material things is it change. If you don't like, you can get out of it. This material things, nothing, it is not a challenge that much. But beyond the material, remember, manomaya attapadla, the mental satisfaction or whatever you hold by the mind is so strong. Your dream state is so powerful than this material world. This material things far beyond from your mental satisfaction. It is so strong and deeper in you. That's why maybe you go to the best place in the world with all the material, the very luxurious mansions and all the men's, women's, and all the food and everything there. But still, you can caught up in your mind that everything disappear. You don't see that. You caught up some thoughts in your mind. See, that everything become disconnect when you connect it to the mental feeling. And the far beyond your manomaya attapatilabha, the arupi attapatilabha, no mental object state is so strong. So that is mostly you experience through the meditation practice. So that's why we have a primary mental object. So once you come focus and settle down with that primary mental object, in a certain level, that object also going to disappear. The mind completely blank from all the mental images. And that is so strong and so comfortable and so powerful than this all the material and mental world. And you have to be more strong and powerful, awake to get out of that. And we think people caught up in the material world and people caught up in the mental world. But most that it is very difficult if somebody caught up in this meditative state with the wrong views. And that's why sometimes, because no one can help, if you are caught up in the material world, once you find something better than what you have, it is very easy, you can get out of it. Even in the mental world with the sometimes little by advice or learning yourself or listening to something, you slowly can get out of it. But who can help? Once you caught up in your mind with just only with the energy. And in this, with new science and technology, there are a lot of pharmaceutical companies trying to develop some kind of methods to introduce all these drugs. The drugs mean not the medicine, that all the drugs that people try to get high. And it becomes day by day, it becomes strong. Heroin, marijuana, or ice, or this kind of thing. It is not 10 years back, it's so different today. This all inside the lab, they try to mix with things and try to bring this blank state of the mind. So They knew there is something beyond this mental image. In the ancient time, without drugs, a lot of people used to get into that. And people didn't find out the way. That's why through drugs, they try to find out how you can get into that. So there are a lot of people attached, and then they sell their house and they give their wife to somebody else. Then they forget about their husband and they sell their cars. They sell all the material things. They give up their social positions and everything. That means that is not enough for it is not valid for them. Just they caught up in that mental darkness. See how it is powerful? And once one person experience that high level of that state, it is very difficult that bring that person back to this material world. So then yourself, you remember that in the material world, of course, it is important, but there is something better than this material. And the mental world important, but there is something better than this mental world. The only thing is the people try to get into it in the wrong way, unprofitable way. So, but by yourself, by practicing yourself, you can get into that. And just getting to that is not the point. And how you can stop this all, because getting to that whatever that mental state itself belong to the samsara. So, but deeply, when you exist with this, you feel so comfortable with your body, and then your mind, once you get into the mind and this body will disappear, then you feel so comfortable with that. And then even that go beyond the mental object is so comfortable for step by step. So when you practice meditation, so this is what, sometimes your body so calm, relax, and you get into the tranquility state. And then while you practice like this, suddenly you feel like shake. That happens, this is the reason. Right? So you feel so comfortable now with this material. It's a very rough physical life. And then slowly you disconnect from that. You go to the mental state. And in that mental state, you feel so comfortable and now know the physical world anymore. So what is happening when you get disturbed in that mental state? You look for the security in the physical body. That's why deeply that shake happening like a thunder, current. Because you look back, you're trying to find the place to settle down. See, deeply, even when you go deeper, out of the mental object also, you feel blank and then you don't see anything anymore. And then you feel so good. But if it is get disturbed, what will happen? You look for this physical. Because that is where that you feel more security in the conventional level. So then suddenly you shake or you feel kind of sweating, you feel kind of like a fear, and then you come back to the body. We used to be in the body and holding the body and facilitating with this body for so long. So go and releasing this is not easy because subconsciously we hold it to this. But remember, step by step, if you develop yourself and that fear not going to happen, that disconnection not going to happen. So whatever the state, still you can remain there, and slowly you release the body. And the mind depends on the kama sanya. Kama means satisfaction. Kama sanya means the ideas or the reflect on perception. And once you reflect on the perception, the imagination arises. It's called kama nimitta. Kama is the satisfaction, and the kama sanya, the idea or the perception of the satisfaction, and kama nimitta. And out of that perception, that the imagination, that you develop and hold something with that intention. And when this is the process that keep happening, and then you always have an intention, and you always imagination projecting, and always you hold it to something with your eye, ear, nose, tongue, body. So that is nothing wrong with that. But it is very important once you recognize it. So the meditation is the method we slowly replace something for you to hold, rather than go with this whole eye, ear, nose, tongue, body perception looking for satisfaction. That's why we come to this observation of sensation. So then it is nothing to do with any kind of this worldly satisfaction, and you feel so comfortable and you settle down there. But it is still a mental object. But that mental object is far, far better than that all the material object. See, the same kind of methods, because the mind always needs the object. So then what you do, slowly replace something. Rather than getting out of everything, you slowly replace it. And then you follow that. And when you follow that, what will happen? You start to see and recognize. That recognition is the most important part. So what you recognize? It like this. The desire. Oh, that whatever the anger or the ignorance that happening in you, once you start to practice meditation, you're going to recognize. Just imagine there is a person get angry, and even that person doesn't know that he get angry. If you try to explain, hey, you get angry, that person get mad, no, that person not going to accept it. And then maybe that person say, no, I'm not get angry, that is who I am. Then maybe he will bring 100 reasons and argue with you that becoming angry like that way is good. It is a good thing. It is the right thing he keep doing. So see that, because he cannot recognize that he is getting angry. Ignorance. And you can say, hey, you are idiot. You got a wrong decision. You wrong. But that person is not going to accept it. He will argue with you, go into debate and try to prove that whatever the decision she took is 100% right. So why? Because that person cannot recognize she's in this condition. So when you practice meditation, what happens? You start to recognizing you getting angry. You took wrong decisions. And you have the desires. You're going to see it. That recognition is far, far better than the first condition. Remember that. It is a very, very good result that you gain out of your practice. Maybe in the conventional world, you will argue with others, you took the right decision, but you know you took the wrong decision. See, now you know that. That is what happening when you come to the practice of meditation, and that is what happening when you slowly develop the art of seeing, and that will help you to see these stages of the existence, the worldly level and mental level. And in a certain level, you recognize it. And you sit for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and it giving deeper some kind of satisfaction. That recognition is a good result that you gain yourself. Because it is not like going, this Friday night, having party, going clubbing after this all. Now it is start to open this all the bars, It's not like that. You recognizing it is, sitting yourself and focusing to your breathing. It's bring you some. See, now you know yourself more than this material world. In this mental world, there is something as a satisfaction, security, comfort. You find something. And when you go deeper beyond this, the work this way, it slowly will take you to a point to understand this everything, moment by moment, happening according to necessary conditions, exist in that very moment. That recognition will allow you to disconnect from everything. Even the moment of experience, even the moment of recognition, you will drop in that very moment. That is the day you're going to get out of this recognition experiencer. That is the day you're going to gain your liberation, transformation, the ultimate bliss of Nibbana. So with that, I bless upon everyone with this good practice. May all of you be well, happy and peaceful. May no harm come to you. May no difficulties come to you. May no problems come to you. May you also have the patience, courage, understanding and determination to meet and overcome inevitable difficulties in your life. During this time period, may everyone stay healthy and safe. And finally, may all of you attain supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sabbityo vajjantu sabbarogo vinasatu mate bhavatantarayo sukhi digayuko bhava. Ittavata cha sampadam punya sampadam sabbe deva numodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Sabbe bhuta numodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Sabbe satta numodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Idamme punya kammanga savakaya vahang hotu sabba dukkha pamuncatu. Bless you.